Hola, bon dia. Carl Monton here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream, YouTube channel and podcast. I hope you're well this morning. Let me ask you that in Portuguese. Tudo bem? Or a little more formally, como estás? And we've got the continuation of the Portugal theme. See what I did there? And got some with me. Look, got this from my local bakery yesterday. That's an inoffensive looking little bread roll, isn't it? But look at it. A number 8 or an infinity sign, or if you put it in the freezer, a nice eye mask. Maybe that could get messy, couldn't it? But good morning to you, wherever you are. Let's start with the Palavra do Dia for you early birds. And you early birds will have seen the lovely Frank, 92 years of age, at the grape harvest of Penella. Thank you, Philomena, for sending those photos in. We'll have a look at those a little bit later on, a little bit of a slideshow of the Penella grape picking. And if you're disappointed that you missed it, don't worry, because they'll be harvesting the red grapes, I believe, on the 26th, which I think is another open invitation to people of the Good Morning Portugal and Expats Portugal communities. More about the Expats Portugal community webinar, Portugal Calling tonight, where the costs of living, the respective costs of living of the United States and Portugal will be under the microscope tonight, but I'll tell you more about that later. Where is this Palavra do Dia? There you go. Do you know what this means? Colheita, very timely, prescient, colheita. And how does it apply to the world of wine as well? So I'll leave that there for a moment while you do your research on that word, if you don't know it already, whilst we go take a look at the weather this morning. Okay, where is it? There it is. Lisbon at the moment, 18 degrees, partly cloudy, 31 to look forward to, however. Nice warm day in Lisbon and a bit of cloud cover. So if you are walking the streets of Lisbon as a sightseer tourist, you'll get some merciful cloud cover and some lovely warm temperatures as well. And it's looking like that for the rest of the week, basically. And the threat of rain has vaporized in Lisboa. So, no rain in sight, which is good. There was yesterday. Porto, 18 degrees and sunny at the moment, clear skies. But it will be a bit of a cloudy day, as it will tomorrow. And the weekend temperatures in the upper 20s in Porto. Coimbra, 19 degrees and clear at the moment, rising to 33. That's the weather pattern I get here in Anadia in the Aveiro district. Currently 25 in the studio, and a cool, actually, for me, a cool 18. The probe outside the window is saying 18 in the shade there as I look across the hillside and the vineyard. Beautiful. Faro, 21 degrees at the moment and clear, 27 to look forward to. A clear day and a sunny day in Faro today, but cloud returning tomorrow and Saturday over the weekend. So it's going to be a cloudy weekend, good one for the gardeners, and albeit warm, 27 degrees on Saturday and Sunday predicted. If you want the weather anywhere else in Portugal, let me know and I'll make my closest approximation to that for you. So yes, bread continued this morning with James Caves. We meant to do that yesterday, but we got talking about our own favorites, like the one I picked up yesterday. Took the kids in. Well, I had a nice cold drink of sumo laranja natural, freshly squeezed orange juice, and it's something else here. It's like 5 or 10 times sweeter than I'm used to from my country of origin. So beautiful to have a natural orange juice in the cafe. And then as you're paying for the kids and their ice creams, I mean, I always try and get the kids to have something baked in the bakery, but sometimes they want an ice cream, which always seems to work out more expensive. And it's a shame, isn't it? Yeah, they're eating some sort of mass-produced thing from a factory when they could be eating something produced in the town, in that bakery, just like this bread. And as I'm paying, oh, that looks good, doesn't it? As I'm paying, I can just pick up some bread on the way out. And this is a lovely, I think there's some olive oil in this particular type of bread, which gives it a beautiful taste and texture. Just one of the many breads on offer. A point of sale in one of the cafes of Anadia. And there are many where you can have a lovely drink, eat a lovely cake, and then pick up some bread on the way out. Hey, Will Thompson is here this morning. Under the banana tree this morning. I'll explain a bit later on, because the idea of comparing English and Portuguese colloquialisms is a pretty good one. And whilst I was researching bread, there is a bread-related idiom, colloquialism. Pão, pão, queijo, queijo. I don't know if you've heard that, but we'll go and look at that and whilst we're there, we've got to look at some of the others because they're hilarious. And under the banana tree is one of them. One of the wonderful Portuguese turns of phrase that you may or may that's a condition you may or may not be in this morning. Let me know. Are you under the banana tree this morning? It's the 10th. Set back to zero for troublemaking data. Bon dia. That's a very cryptic message, Mr. Bond. Would you care to say more, Will Thompson? And yes, I have a COVID update. I've got a message from the Prime Minister. Sounds like, I'm in touch with him directly and he's asked me to share something with you. In a way, that is true. In another way, it comes via the Portugal news. So I'll share that with you in a little while. Hola, bon dia. Oh, me sinto bem. Feeling good, I think that means. Hoy me sinto bem. Is that right, Paul? I'm feeling good. And how are you doing with coleta? Have you translated that? Did you know what that meant already? But great to have your company. Let me say and rather than but. And great to have your company, Paul Williams, in the south of England this morning. Bon dia. In the north of England, bon dia, Carl. Cloudy but dry today. Only 11 degrees at 9 a.m. Top of 16 today. Sunday up to 23 degrees. Hurrah! When's your pub opening there? They're involved in a community pub opening, Claire and Steve. Lovely idea. The shape of the future. I would say, shape of things to come, community-led enterprises. Hola, bon dia from Henry Jeffries, also in the UK this morning. How are you doing, Henry? When are we seeing you again? Had no data in the last 5 days. Oh, I see. No data on your phone. So detoxed on alcohol and engaging in the wider world of beyond Facebook and mass media craziness. Well, that's good. So you're off the booze and off the social media. Is that right, Will? I wonder. Or were you detoxing on alcohol or off alcohol? Let us know if you want to, that is. I don't want to pry too much into your personal life. Oh, that's interesting. This has never happened to me before, as men often famously say, but my mouse has stopped working. So I might have to go manual on this or just plug it. Let me just try plugging it back in again. That's a really weird thing to have happened. No, we're back. It's like turn it on, turn it off, and turn it back on again. That's what I unplugged the little USB dongle, and we're back in business. The mouse is working once more. So that message from the Prime Minister this morning. Oh, hold on. It's reopening. This is the community pub in Manchester area. It's reopening on Friday at 5 p.m. We'll probably be under the banana tree on Saturday morning. Brilliant. Okay. The message from Senor Costa, from a couple of days ago. And then we'll look at Safe Communities Portugal, because there has been a meeting of ministers. And I have to say to you, this is a lot of speculation. This is the problem at the moment. This has a very kind of salutary warning tone to it all and not much detail. I guess that's where we're at the moment. Prime Minister warns Portugal is set to enter critical COVID phase. The Prime Minister warned yesterday, this was on 3 days ago, that the country is about to enter a critical phase with regards to the COVID virus due to the change of the season. And we've given you the words for that. We're going from verão to outono, the beginning of the school year and the resumption of many activities. So yes, a turning point at this time of year. People gathering to harvest, for one thing, kids going back to school, and I suppose the other part of it, people just being fed up and drifting back to holding on to the pieces of their normality and trying to stitch their lives back together and earn a living and so on. Speaking to journalists, this was on the 7th or thereabouts, on his way to a meeting in the evolution or about the evolution of COVID-19 in Portugal. Antonio Costa called for compliance with the rules to control the pandemic. The Prime Minister also recalled that if everyone complies with the rules, it is possible to control the substantial increase in the pandemic, which is essential so that there is no excessive burden on health services. Well, we've done well so far. What I would do is if I put the connection to this, the link to this connection, sounding like an old giffer, aren't I? I'll put the connection, the interweb connection, on the comments there, and so you can see for yourself. What's really interesting about this now and how this is developing are the comments. This is more material for discussion on our news hour on a Tuesday evening on Good Evening Portugal. Don't want to get too deep into it right now with the controversy, but the comments you'll see after this article are hilarious in some ways, and also they do illustrate the concerns and the confusion that continues around the whole, as it's put in the article there, the whole evolution of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me move on then to and share something else with you from Safe Communities Portugal this morning as we move into the state of contingency, and we'll find out in due course. I thought this meeting was happening on the 8th, actually, but let me see. It doesn't like it. Let me just try that one more time. I thought this meeting was happening on the 8th. It would appear it's happening, or it happened yesterday or today. Not entirely clear from reading this, but the point being, Council of Ministers are meeting to determine the situation or the measures around the contingency or state of contingency, situation of contingency that happens in 5 days' time. Okay, so the Council of Ministers will meet today. I believe this is published today, this morning, and I thought it was happening 2 days ago. There will be measures to be implemented from Tuesday, the 15th, when the country enters into a contingency situation due to the pandemic, which has already been announced. In late August, precisely at a press conference after the meeting of the Council of Ministers, the Minister of State and Presidency, the Minister of State and the Presidency, Mariana Vieira da Silva, justified the government's decision to impose new rules from September the 15th. So primed back in late August for new measures that are coming out next Tuesday. And it may be that you are browbeaten and it's like, okay, whatever, just give me the measures, I'll do them. Or you may be, more concerned and like thinking, well, hold on a minute, this is more lockdown, wider spread mask wearing, maybe in the streets as well. You may have a view on that, of course. Or it's just like, just give me the measures and let's get on with it and see where this goes. And so, yes, the measures in a preventative manner with a significant change in routines that will happen. Now, I don't think that's a significant change of routines imposed by the government, but significant change in routines because the kids are going back to school. The government considers that this significant change in routines in the use of transport, the return to school, yes, there we go, and a more significant return to the labour market may require additional measures. The Prime Minister reaffirmed today, however, that a situation of confinement is a non-scenario because the country would not support it. Interesting. And asked everyone to be extremely disciplined in complying with the rules. So an indication there that there won't be a second lockdown in Portugal. The best way to not stop again, as in stop the, I suppose, daily life and the economy such as we know it, is to be extremely disciplined in complying with the rules. We all have to keep this pandemic in check, and that requires enormous discipline on the part of all of us, stressed Antonio Costa on the eve of the Council of Ministers. The head of government recalled that it is not because the sun is shining and the weather is hot that behaviors should be relaxed. Although, that is human nature, is it not? Sun shines, the weather gets hot, and people relax. But namely people walking together stop washing their hands or having big dinners, because if they do, the country risks losing everything that it has achieved over the past few months. So stop it, you and your big dinners, at least for a little while longer yet. If there is something that we all have in mind, he continues, it is that the country does not support it. Families do not support it. Companies do not support it. And individually, each one of us does not support going through a situation of confinement, he said. So good on him, I would say. And let's take that at face value. There is not support, it would seem, for a situation of confinement here in Portugal. But we'll see. And I'll keep you posted as best I can. Gianni, good morning to you, Gianni, from Portugal. Heading for Portugal at some point in Belgium, of course. How is it there in Belgium at the moment? It was a pretty grim situation for a while, was it not, Jenny? Or was that just the media reports we were getting here in Portugal? Bon dia, tired of the first Portuguese lesson. 3.5 hours. I think, if the theories of learning are anything to go by, you've had enough after the first half hour, basically. The human mind cannot take much more in than that, can it? 3.5 hours, that's enough to put you off for life. Go steady on that, Jenny. I appreciate your conscientiousness here, but really, 3.5 hours, that sounds like, torture almost. Yes, hold on a minute. Where am I with me comments here? Oh, there she is, Jenny. Will Thompson, I stopped the habit of drinking each evening and engaging in Facebook discussions. Yeah. What a combination. I could have told you. One thing I really noticed was how many unnecessary arguments are happening when you stop engaging and just listening. Yes, very good, Will. Hope to continue another 5 days at least and change patterns of behavior, live more in the real. And there's, that's so wise. And right, it seems to me, and I'm sure others will have something to say about this. That's very tempting, isn't it, to open a bottle of the Portuguese local brew or whatever, or some beautiful Portuguese wine, as we'll be doing tonight. If I can just lift this above your comment, there's an irony there, isn't there, with what you're talking about and me just flaunting that bottle of red above it. Yeah, drinking and social media, not an ideal mix, really, is it? It's a bit like, don't drink and dial, don't drink and type. Perhaps. So excellent, Will, and I totally support you there, mate, in going for another 5 days of your detox. Fantastic. And that last bit, living more in the real. I mean, to me, that is really, the real juice there. It's really important, isn't it, to engage with what is our reality? Because if you do spend your time watching the news and taking views of other people in on social media, and that begins to form your reality, you got to ask a question, really. It isn't, is it? It's the other people's reality and other people's interpretations. So yes, let's get back to the real. I want some Good Morning Portugal t-shirts with that on. Live more in the real. I wonder what that is in Portuguese. Can we have a translation, please, somebody? So good on you, Will. Keep it up, mate. Hola, bon dia. Good morning, listening in from a very grey, dull west of Ireland. Beautiful, though, right? Beautiful west of Ireland. And I can imagine a bit of a mizzle in the air there this morning. You do get your fair share of rain on that coast, don't you? And a very good morning, hola, bon dia to you as well. Anna Carroll, thank you for joining us this morning. Pete, any news on the coach trip? Morning from a warm Castanera de Pera this morning. Barbecue tonight and making tacos. Pasta, Mexican. Tacos Pastor, is that Mexican, in honor of Chef Aldo, who is now back in Madrid. So they've lost their Chef Aldo over there in Castanera de Pera, but the cooking continues with Tacos Pastor, if I've understood that correctly. So yeah, where are we going on this coach trip, Pete? I hope that input was useful yesterday for you. All right, 14 Portuguese breads. Let's make our way. Actually, no, before I do that, I'll share with you the event that's happening tonight. I'll be with Astrid and Jerry of the Expats Portugal leadership, and members of the community, specifically Americans living in Portugal, whereupon we will be looking at the comparison of the cost of living. I can get this up on the screen for you now. Oh, we've got the pictures from the Panella grape picking to come as well, of course. More about bread and more Portuguese colloquialisms that are wonderful, hence under the banana tree there on my screen. Where are we with, Portugal Calling tonight, 8 o'clock. Great webinars from Expats Portugal in the Portugal Calling series with me, Astrid and Jerry. Tonight, USA versus Portugal. Sounds like a football match that the USA are sure to lose, but no, it's let's compare the cost of living. In this webinar, we invite Americans already living in Portugal, as well as those keen to make the move, to discuss and compare the cost of living in Portugal. We'll talk about grocery shopping, schools, transport, utilities, rent, EDP. I still have not forgiven you. Rent, pet care, eating out, and much more. It is an open chat for people to ask questions, share knowledge, and connect with our community. So that's tonight from 8 o'clock Portuguese time. You do need to RSVP on that. Okay, so get over to expatsportugal.com. Actually, I'll put that link in the comments as well for you, so you know where to find that if you want to join us for that this evening. Okay, let's. I want to show you these pictures of Panella grape picking. Before that, let's go back to the James Caves. How many of these breads have you eaten, basically? And his wonderful Portugalist article. Just 14 of the breads to look out for. Some of them are a bit cakey and toasty for my liking. And I'm sure this list can run and run, especially with your help. We had the seedy brown loaf yesterday from Ty and Joe. So there we go. We've done the bolo de cacao and the cornbread, and we're moving on now, scrolling past the torrada, which I think is more of a recipe than a bread. And there we had the what's that one? That is that's how the the torrada style. The pão de forma is turned into French toast. My mouth is watering. Here we go. Papa secco or coraça. Papa secco or coraça. Excuse me a minute. Just have a quick sip of water. Oh, that's better. Talking so much, not pausing for breath or water. Papa secco or coraça are small bread rolls that are often used in sandwiches. They can also be used to make bifanas and pregos. They are bifanas like the Portuguese burger, really, isn't it? Like a slice of meat between slices of bread. That's Jimmy Choo stirring behind me. It's a busy morning, bless him. He's spark out now behind me. And pregos. I actually don't know what pregos are. I'm going to have to look into that. Anyone? Pregos? They're very simply all-purpose bread rolls, and they're the staple of the Portuguese diet. And that said, James, I imagine they take many forms. And I think this big white space on the website here that I'm sharing wouldn't ordinarily have a picture of such. But I'll do that. I'll illustrate that myself. Let me just... So this is a papa secco, presumably, this sort of thing. Which would make two lovely little mini burger baps as we call them, or barm cakes, as you call them, barm cakes. Sorry, terrible accent there, Claire and Steve. Bread cakes. When I used to live in Sheffield, bread cakes. Honestly, bread is such a fascinating subject. It really is. What do you call bread where you are? Back to Portuguese bread, though. However, right now, a pão de mafra. You will have seen Mafra as you've driven to Lisbon, possibly from the north. I've not called in as yet, but pão de Mafra is popular Portuguese bread that originates from Mafra, around 40 kilometers north of Lisbon. Anyone want to sing the praises of Mafra? I'd like to know more. It sounds like a UK government agency, the Mafra. But anyway, initially the bread was only really eaten in Mafra, but in the 70s, people from Mafra began selling it in Lisbon, and its popularity soon spread. And this is... Look at the shape of that. This is a cause of much hilarity in my family for obvious reasons, if you can see that visual. And sorry if you can't on the podcast. Made from wheat, rye, and lots of water, pão de mafra is soft on the inside and crusty on the outside, and it has a very rustic taste. There you go. Let's move on now then to broa de Avantes. Broa de Avantes is a it's a type of bread that's commonly found around Vila Nova de Gaia in Porto. Okay, so back up north now to Vila Nova de Gaia. It's quite a dark bread, and it's made from corn and rye flour. Broa de Avantes is quite dense and has a bittersweet taste. It's interesting, isn't it? Go north in the country. Does the bread get darker? Is that a generalization we can make? The bread gets darker and more dense. And then down in the sunny south, not light white bread and fluffy. Maybe it reflects the clouds in the respective parts of the country. Pão de Centeio. Pão de Centeio is a type of rye bread that's commonly found in the north of Portugal. See, another dark, dense bread. Like broa de Avantes, it can be quite dark, dense, and filling. Although it is traditionally made from just rye flour, that is going to be dense, isn't it? Something the kids won't like. Some recipes will use other grains like wheat, so double check the ingredients if you're gluten intolerant. James very thoughtfully says there. Pão de dois means bread of God, and being honest, this is quite a heavenly bread. Nice, James, nice. It is a sweet bread roll with grated shredded coconut on the top. My mouth watering again. It can either be eaten as is or used to make a sandwich. All right, those of you who see themselves as a bit handy in the kitchen, what would you make with a coconut-topped bread roll? What would you put in that? Because, your ham sandwich, traditional ham sandwich with coconut on, that's like having pineapple in your pizza, isn't it? I'm not sure about that, James. Pão com chorizo. This is the Portuguese sausage roll, right? It's essentially a Portuguese take on the sausage roll. James agrees with me. Sliced chorizo is placed on a bread dough and then baked in the oven. This is often eaten as a snack around lunchtime or lunch time, as he's put there, which is usually sometime around 4 p.m. Very good. Or is lunch time? Have I got that wrong? Is a snack is lunch time a kind of Portuguese thing? Because I thought he was making a joke about late lunches there, but we'll see. Merenda. Is this connected with the Parque de Merendas? Merenda is a soft bread that is usually filled with cheese, ham, or both, thereby making it a merenda mista, I guess. It is often eaten around breakfast or lunchtime. Okay, so this is a thing. It's not a typo. Sounds a bit Irish, but it's perhaps Portuguese. And I'm learning something, and I hope and expect to be schooled by you on this. And is usually either made with a sweet brioche style bread or a flakier puff pastry style bread. Okay, so there you go. The merenda. Again, sounding more like a recipe than a type of bread. Not sure. Bola de carne, another meat-filled pastry. The bread or cake, which it's more like, is crumbly and sweet and is usually stuffed with slices of ham or chorizo in the middle. Sometimes it's possible to find a bola de carne with either chicken or beef in the middle. Like merendas, often eaten around lunchtime, but it could, I've got to look that up, Lanche, but it could be also eaten at breakfast or any other time of day. As many little petiscos, are they called, the Portuguese snacks. Lovely to see them in the cafes. You know, when you're a bit peckish and you need a bit of a pick-me-up, get your coffee, get a petisco, get a little thing like James is talking about here. And how many more of these have we got? I think we need to oh no, we've got 2 more. So let's nail these, and we can still talk about bread for the rest of the week and sort of derivations from here on in. Maybe recipes, more recipes. Is there a Portuguese bread and butter pudding, for example? Folha de Pascal, obviously it's going to be an Easter thing. Pascal is a brioche-style bread that's eaten at Easter time and is easily recognizable by the boiled egg that's baked into the top. A bit of a curiosity when you first see it, a hard-boiled egg, shell on, baked into the top of the bread. So you get a snack within a snack. The bread can be salty or sweet, and there are a number of different regional takes on the recipe. The egg, of course, supposed to symbolize the resurrection or rebirth, and it's also associated with friendship and reconciliation. So I suppose if a Portuguese person turns up with an egg or a boiled egg for you, there is the equivalent of an olive branch. Bolo de ferradura. Bolo de ferradura. What a beautiful word. A horseshoe-shaped bread that's sometimes given as a gift to wedding guests. The horseshoe in weddings, right? And the lucky charm. But nowadays is mainly just sold at fairs. Different regions of Portugal use different spices to flavor the cakes. Mouth-watering again, but some flavors you can expect to find include cinnamon, of course. Cinnamon, the ubiquitous cinnamon in Portugal, lemon, or fennel. Now, the least we can do here, portugalist.com/Portuguese-bread. Get in touch with James. He's such a giver when it comes to sharing information on his blog about Portuguese life. When we interviewed him here, of course, a couple of weeks ago, have you tried many Portuguese breads and pastries? He asked. Do you have any favorites? Let us know your recommendations and reviews by leaving a comment below, as people have done on the Portugalist.com. Thanks, James. Thanks, everyone who's taken any sort of interest in that at all this week on our Portugal feature. A few more good mornings here. Let's say good morning to Natalie Harknett. Bon dia from Ermidas do Sadi. Just bought a house there. Good morning to you, Natalie. Congratulations, parabéns, on your purchase of your casa there, your casa Portuguese. Good morning. I tend to send messages to the wrong people after a Matheus. Don't we all, Julie? I think there's an added ingredient in Matheus, isn't it, that accounts for its appeal among people like yourself. And yes, of course. I see what you mean. Yes, you sent me some messages, didn't you, after a couple of glasses, I remember. And I immediately knew from the cryptic nature of them, these aren't for me. Julie, stop. Either the drinking or the texting. Brilliant. Yes, and if you've got any funny stories here that you want to share, Julia has already there, of course, of your adventures whilst drinking and texting. Keep them clean. Do share. And it's Emidas Sado from you, Natalie Harkett. I'm not sure if it's Emidas do Sadi or Emidas Sadi. You haven't been on the Matheus, have you, Natalie, this morning? Hence your typos there. Not that we judge. It is your life and your right to sip Matheus. And why wouldn't you, having just bought a house in Portugal and really enjoying life here? I tend to agree, says Ty. Not much to look forward to in the UK this winter. I hope Project Fear does not come true, but as the weeks go by, I see nothing being positively resolved, says Ty. That might relate to something a little bit further back. Oh, yes, it does. It's Gary's comment. Sorry, I'm all over the place, aren't I, with me comments this morning? But that's because there are so many of them coming in, and I love it that you send all your messages in. I really do. I think a second lockdown will be unworkable and produce a dramatic backlash, especially in the UK. And I foresee a winter of discontent with protests and possible rioting, as we've seen in occasions in the past. The people are frustrated, disillusioned, and angry, which is never a good mix, obviously. And then you put the booze and the social media in, and look, yes. But how would the government react to that, I wonder? And I think that's what Ty is agreeing with. And I think governments all over the place are realizing just people don't have the stomach or will for more lockdown, right? And when it's imposed, they are imposing it hard. You only got to look at Australia, haven't you, and seeing what's going on in well, I guess it's not directly in America, is it? That's for other reasons. But yeah, where lockdown is being imposed, it is being imposed harshly, it would seem. And yes, governments wisely should see that there isn't an appetite or a stomach for it. Lisbeth Corthu, then you aren't too far from me. I spend quite some time in Abelia these days, even if I reside in Belgium most of the year. Lisbeth, lovely to hear from you this morning. Thank you for that. Thank you for your comment there. And tell us more about Abelia. Joe Johnson, cobs. Yes, that was a word I didn't use so far. Cobs, balm cakes, bread cakes, baps, of course. Every Wednesday, it's a lesson of 3.5 hours for a year and driving 45 minutes and 45 minutes back. That is an epic adventure in Portuguese, Jenny. We'll raise a glass to you tonight if we remember after opening and sipping a few of these. But yeah, I'll raise that to you now. And your efforts to learn Portuguese. Good on you, Jenny. An amazing effort there. Far more than I commit to, I have to say. To my shame. Prego is a thin beef steak in a roll. Excellent. It also means nail and is often used to refer to cigarettes. It's like, that's a great quiz question, isn't it? What is the connection between a thin beefsteak, a nail, and cigarettes? It would be the Portuguese prego. Thank you, Pete, for that. Always good for that local Portuguese wisdom. Cheers, Pete. Prego. Yes, of course, an Italian word. Glad to hear I'm drinking my Matthews correctly, ice cold by the pool. Are you doing that right now, Julie, I wonder? Again, not judging here. And Paul, again, to my aid and helping here with developing the hive mind and our love and appreciation of Portuguese language and culture. Lanche is a snack. Sounds so French. Doesn't look like a Portuguese word, does it? So lunchtime in Portugal is great. Is it lunchtime? It can be any time when you have a little snack or a petisco. Fantastic. Thank you for that. So prego, lanche, lots of vocabulary this morning. Many strange things happen in Belgium and still no government for more than 400 days. We're going to break our own record from last time. What happened last time? 400 days of no government. That to me sounds like quite a good thing, really, doesn't it? It's a bit like those people who, went away went to fight in the Second World War heroically, came back to their desks and nothing had changed. And we get a real sense, don't you, of whether and what things are worthwhile in life when you're forced to stop them suddenly. I mean, I think we found that, didn't we, with lockdown? What we could do and do without, do with and do without in that time, and what was really important to us, with some strange, T-boning effect, broadside in our culture. Amazing. So I didn't know that the Portuguese government hasn't been in operation for 400 days, but maybe, as I say, that's a good thing. The do nothing option can often be good. Coach trip update, only had about 13 positive replies for a coach that takes 35. Okay, come on, folks. Put my name down, Pete. And we are a tribe of 5 here. So that'll boost the numbers up a bit. That's driven the numbers up. If I'm statistically correct there, we're almost like 30% up, aren't we? If my family come on your current numbers. And finding a date for everyone is going to be impossible. That's true. That's always difficult. Going to do a minibus beer and food tour for the Brotherhood first to see how that goes. Okay, put me down, but not the family for that one. Sounds like great fun. Definitely Ermidash Sado. Where is that? Presumably near Abelia. That Elizabeth was talking about earlier on. Finding out so much this morning. Fantastic. Prego, nail refers to the ones going into your coffin lid, as also used in English. Yes, nails in the coffin, which leads us neatly to those wonderful colloquialisms. Let me share those for you on the screen. And I think we'll finish with, remind me, if I overlook this, but the pictures of the Panella grape picking from the wonderful Filomena Portugal. Where are we here? The 20 funniest Portuguese expressions. I mean, we have looked at similar before now. And it's playing up again. Doesn't like sharing. Doesn't like. She's good to share. Computer, come on. There we go. Have we? Oh, we still got it. Oh, that looks like a good one. 8 signs that we were raised by a Portuguese mother. They're hilarious. I don't know if you're in the Portuguese comedy group. That's really good, and a learning experience as well. The reason, sorry to keep scrolling and whizzing this past your eyes, but the one that drew my attention to this whole thing here was the Portuguese expression "pão, pão, queijo, queijo." So, for a Portuguese person, something is not really simple or straightforward. The phrase used here is, which sounds to me like gunfire: "Pão, pão, queijo, queijo," incoming. It's bread to bread and cheese to cheese. Keep it simple. Pau pau, queijo queijo. Or I think that refers to a straightforward person as well. And the banana thing, are you under the banana tree? A Portuguese is not worry free, according to this what is it? matadornetwork.com and the 20 funniest Portuguese expressions. Portuguese is not worry free. He's sitting under the banana tree. And I hope you are too, sitting under the banana tree near a pool with optional ice cold Mateus Rosé in your hands. A Portuguese is not clumsy. He looks like a silly cockroach, a barata tonta. I won't do all 20, but I think we have to do a special on this where we go head to head. The Portuguese are winning at the moment. And I say English versus Portuguese because I know the English ones, because I know that the Scottish, Irish and Welsh will have their own colloquialism. So maybe it becomes a tournament of the colloquialisms and idioms and nice little vernacular phrases that bring the poetry out of a language and show the personality of a language, of course. A Portuguese does not wake up angry. He wakes up with his feet outside. So I guess in England, you might say, did you get out of bed on the wrong side? In Portugal, you'd say, did you wake up with your feet outside? Fantastic. Portuguese is not upset. He is with the olive oil. So did people get sent out traditionally when they were a bit eggy? Estar com os azeites. A Portuguese is not experienced. This is an interesting one. One would say in Portugal, instead of experience, são muitos anos a virar frangos. He spent many years turning chickens. And I'm imagining that's on the barbecue, not in the hen house. One here that I can't read out, but I'll do my best approximation. A Portuguese does not tell you to pee off. He tells you, go to the place where go to the place where Judas lost his boots. Onde Judas perdeu as botas. Or he will tell you to go away and comb monkeys. Portuguese are killing this, aren't they? Vai pantear macacos. So fantastic. Love those. Let's just go now to the lovely pictures from Filomena. Thank you. We find out that Ermidas Sado is about 40 minutes east of Sines. Great. Thank you, Natalie, for that. And yeah, congratulations on buying and having your place there. Fantastic. These lovely pictures. Where are they? Slideshow time. Sorry, podcast people. Come and have a look occasionally at the live stream or check it out on YouTube. How do I do this? I'm in Facebook for this, I think. Hold on a minute. Mrs. M is sending me messages. Well, I've got to make sure I'm on the right screen before I share personal messages coming from Mrs. M, obviously. So this could be an embarrassing moment. Let me I'm taking my reputation in my hands, what little there is of it. Facebook, he tentatively clicks. Oh, that's okay. Safe. And thanks to the new Facebook layout, like it or loathe it. I don't know how you'll respond. I quite like it, actually. I'm finding it's intuitive and user-friendly, and it's not giving too much away. Previously, when I've shared Facebook screens, it gives all sorts of stuff on the screen you might not want people to necessarily see. Look, it's giving us a nice slideshow here. There's Frank, 92. At 92 years young at the Great Picking in Penella, last weekend. Another one on the 26th. If you want to get involved, get in touch with Philomena. Trips for Brits and others, of course. Look, that's a beautiful picture there, isn't it? A bucket of red grapes looking down the vineyard aisle there. Superb. There's Frank again, looking quite seriously into the camera. And we finish with a beautiful picture of Frank holding a bottle, presumably from the vineyard itself there. He's taken to the shade. He's got a wonderful hat on. He's holding a bottle of red, which I hope that was at least his reward. And that I'm sure they would have looked after him, because I heard that the hospitality was legendary. People were arriving to breakfast. There was plenty of lunching. Now I know that word. Plenty of snacking, and a good day was had by all, with food and drink freely flowing. Sounds great. Another Portuguese phrase. Let's have this one on screen. No cu de Judas, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, lost like Judas, right? Fantastic. Obviously, and that is the polite translation from Pete. I wonder what the non-polite version of that is. Could you PM me that, Pete, in case I need it? My Chinese favorite is for men who are always busy doing useless things. He spent the day touching fish. Wow, the Chinese colloquialisms, and Will sort of throwing in his kind of polymath vibe there. He knows so much about so many things. And for you fellas who are always busy doing useless things, you are the men who spend the day touching fish. Fantastic. And Ferry, good morning to you, Ferry. Lovely to see you in here. I have seen Peter Wilton more than my wife this week. I stay home tonight to process everything we did this week. Oh, and now he wants me to go on the bus trip again. I love Portugal. Your poor wife, Ferry. You say you hear my voice more than hers, and you see Pete more than you see her. Yeah, maybe we should have a special, like Will is having his detox of booze and social media. Maybe we can support you to spend more time with your wife. And I don't know if she'll thank us for that or not. I hope she will. Or she might just say, get back out there and go and touch more fish. Who knows? We're really mixing it up this morning. Palavra de dia, word of the day, colheita, which means harvest, of course. Did you know that? And it finds its way onto wine labels. Here it is. Tonight's selection for the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, Cabris, which I profiled on last night's Good Evening Portugal live stream. The wonderful experiences you can have at Cabris. I found out, look at this, this cheeky label here. It's like Wine Spectator Top 100, Wine Spectator Top number 46 in the Top 100, Best Wines, Top 100, all these accolades that you see hung around the neck of this bottle. And you think, that must be good. And you read the small print, as I think Neil pointed out from our wine ninjas, the inner chamber, the elite squad of the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. And he says, if you read the small print, none of those accolades actually refer to the wine around which the label is hung. They are other wines, you cheeky Cabris marketers. I don't know if any of those accolades actually apply to this particular wine. So we will be giving it our own little tasting and verdict tonight. Join us for that at 9 o'clock here on this live stream and on the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club stream as well. Hold on a minute. More comments coming in before we go today. Morning. We're missing Portugal so much and only back in UK for 2 days. I'm sorry to hear that, Jonathan. I really am. And it's almost like, all the things we talk about on this live stream kind of rub that in. But what do? I mean, we're here to celebrate life in Portugal. So I hope in some way, as well as looking like we're rubbing it in, holding up, taunting you with Portuguese bread and Portuguese wine. I hope also that it keeps the flame alive. It keeps your Portuguese pilot light aflame so that it can be ignited fully as you return and when you return. So, Jonathan, thank you for sharing that saudade with us this morning, and looking forward to having you back here soon. Hannah, good morning, Hannah. How are you? My favorite Lebanese saying, check us out. English, Portuguese, Chinese, Lebanese. The favorite Portuguese saying for Hannah is, for someone not doing anything useful but pretending they are, is they are holding the donkey's ears. Fabulous. Can't wait to say that to my Lebanese friend. Have I got one of those? Hola, bon dia. Hi, Sine. Late in the chat today. Went to Lidl Is there a day that goes by when Lidl doesn't get mentioned? Went to Lidl for emergency pão. Looking forward to hearing about the wines later. Yeah, she'll be there tonight in the elite squad on the screen, tasting the wine. It means they don't look after the donkey or feed it. Oh, they just hold its ears. I am going to use that today, I'm sure, somehow. Bon dia, todos from Jim. Morning, Jim, in Germany, I'm guessing. Sounds like a good day to me, holding a donkey's ears, I think. Touching fish and holding a donkey's ears. Donkey might not thank you for that. Depends which order you do it in. And Jonathan Harding, yay! We're hoping our house goes through in a couple of weeks, so we'll be back. Okay, final raising of this bottle. It will be empty in 12 hours time. So maybe actually no, Mrs. M is off it, a bit like you, detoxing. Well, she's not detoxing, she just doesn't drink alcohol anymore. Here she is with a cup of tea. Oh, nice service, thank you. Can you have this? She's taking my bread, taking the bread from the broadcaster's mouth. Yeah, we're hoping. Oh, she's taking half the bread in a very kind of marital, compassionate and biblical way. Yeah, sorry? The dog has, Jimmy Chew hasn't licked it. Yeah, we're hoping our house goes through in a couple of weeks, so we'll be back. Yes, raising that bottle to you in that hope. Jonathan, fingers crossed, everything crossed for you. And I imagine there's a Portuguese phrase about that as well. Boa sorte to you with that endeavour. Bon dia, Carl, what did I miss? Were you going to give the wine a taste now? No, tonight, mate. See you tonight, Frank, for some of that. And join Frank tomorrow night on the Expat Sport Report. We've got a lot of away kits to discuss. Oh, look at this. This might be a first. Oi, said Andrew Scarborough. Bon dia from Portugal. Good morning to you, Andrew Scarborough. Great to have you here. And it's an insult in my household, holding the donkey's ears, to those being useless but pretending they're doing lots. And all you have to say, I guess, is hashtag donkey's ears, right, to draw their attention to that, Hannah. Fabulous. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate all your input. We'll see you again tonight for the wine tasting or on the Expats Portugal webinar, comparing the cost of living between the United States and Portugal, or back here again tomorrow morning. So in that case, até amanhã, te breve, beijinhos, abraços.